Oh, it's another day here in Dallas, Texas. I'm still on the road, but I'm still doing what I told you I'd do, delivering you the most interesting information from around the world. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I gather all the news, all the stories. I give you my analysis, and I respond to your comments. This is interactive. This is Interesting Times on the Bek Lover podcast. Let's jump into it. There's a lot of things going on, but just a quick update for those of you that actually care what I'm doing. I'm down here in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. I'm staying downtown. This city's far from busy compared to New York. It's more spread out, you know. And if you want to see like what I do in my life, make sure you follow my Instagram at Bek Lover NYC or check out my TikTok, my YouTube channel. You know, I post a lot of content besides the podcast, folks, for those of you that don't know. In any event, let's jump into the headlines. You know, I've never taken a cruise, and even my lady, she's brought it up a couple of days ago, and every time it kind of slips slowly into my mind, like, yeah, maybe I'll take a cruise, you know. I have no desire to. Honestly, every time I look at the headlines, there's ships, everyone's getting sick. There was that horrible incident a few years back where they got stuck. I believe it was Carnival. If I'm not mistaken, they were out in the Gulf of Mexico for months. They ran out of food. They were having airlifts. The people were up to their ankles in sewage. I mean, I have no desire of being trapped on an object in the middle of the ocean, even if it's just for a few hours. I just don't. I just don't. Here's another reason why I don't care to go on cruises. But to be fair, this could happen anywhere. This could happen in a hotel, office. We have a lot of sick people. Cameras have become smaller and smaller and smaller, and we live in a sick world. Royal Caribbean crew member filmed nearly 1,000 passengers in bathrooms using hidden cameras hid under their beds. A Royal Caribbean international passenger has launched a class action lawsuit against the company and its former crew after as many as 960 people may have been victims of a hidden camera in a bathroom on board. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of Symphony of the Seas passenger Jane Doe and all other similarly situated passengers in the Southern District of Florida on Tuesday. Its filing comes nearly a month after an employee, Arvin Joseph Mirasol of the Philippines, pleaded guilty to producing child, images that are forbidden, doing horrible acts, and was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. A guest aboard the ship discovered a hidden camera fixed to the counter under the sink in their bathroom on February 25th and reported it to ship security. Mirasol, a stateroom attendant, was detained until the cruise ship docked at the Port Everglades in Fort Lauderdale, according to the U.S. Attorney Office of the Southern District of Florida. Law enforcement found numerous videos of children between the ages of 2 and 17 in various states of dress on his electronic devices, according to the office, but Mirasol's surveillance wasn't limited to children, according to the lawsuit. Upon information and belief, Mirasol transmitted and or uploaded images of the plaintiff while undressed and engaging in private activities to third parties and to the World Wide Web, including but not limited to dark web, without plaintiff's prior knowledge or consent, the complaint states. Mirasol allegedly hid under passengers' beds to spy on them and filmed them while they were showering. The lawsuit alleges that Royal Caribbean should have known these assaults were foreseeable, considering the prevalence on the cruise ships. According to the suit, there's a total of 26 physical assaults and crimes that start with the S reported during RCCL cruises in 2023. Okay? Sick people everywhere. You're not safe. Your children are not safe. You better be vigilant. You better stop burying your phone, your face in your phone, and pay attention to what's going on around you and everywhere you are. Okay? It's crazy out there. Trump books Joe Rogan podcast interview in final election push. We are 2 weeks away. That's right, 2 weeks from today. One of the biggest elections ever in U.S. history. The country has never been more divided. Both candidates are doing last-minute blitzes, as much promotion as they can in these final weeks. I'm not so optimistic. I got a very bad feeling. I predicted that this election would never even happen. It looks like I might be wrong. What are your thoughts? I definitely believe there's going to be a lot of chaos right after. In any event, Trump books Joe Rogan podcast interview in final election push. Former President Donald Trump plans to tape an interview with Joe Rogan on Friday as part of his final push for votes ahead of the November 5th election. Multiple sources confirmed to the Post. Rogan 57 has a massive and passionate following and is known for his idiosyncratic politics, making the interaction a potential harvest for the Republican nominee. The Joe Rogan Experience has an estimated 14.5 million followers on Spotify. Bloomberg News reported this year. His audience is believed to be overwhelmingly male. Trump 78 will record the discussion of Rogan Studios in Austin, Texas, Politico first reported. Trump has appeared on many podcasts in the home stretch of the campaign and co-host a streaming conversation with Elon Musk on X. In August, the billionaire leader of Tesla and SpaceX said to have reached 1 billion views. It shows you the power of the industry. Joe Rogan is the podfather. He's the one that really breathed life into this industry. And this is going to be an epic podcast, and I'm excited. And we'll do an analysis on it also. Are you excited about this podcast? Let me know. A giant meteorite boiled the oceans 3.2 billion years ago. Scientists say it was a fertilizer bomb for life. CNN reports a massive space rock estimated to be the size of 4 Mount Everest slammed into Earth more than 3 billion years ago. And the impact could have been unexpectedly beneficial for the earliest forms of life on our planet, according to new research. Typically, when a large space rock crashes into Earth, the impacts are associated with catastrophic devastation, as in the case of the demise of the dinosaurs 66 million years ago, when roughly a 6.2 mile wide, that's 10 kilometers, asteroid crashed off the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula in what is now Mexico. But Earth was young and a very different place when the S2 meteorite, estimated to have 50 to 200 times more mass than the dinosaur extinction triggering Chicks Club asteroid, collided with the planet 3.26 billion years ago. Early in Earth's history, space rocks frequently hit the young planet. It is estimated that giant impactors greater than 6.2 miles across pummeled the planet at least every 15 million years, according to the study authors, meaning that at least 16 giant meteorites hit Earth during the Archean eon, which lasted from 4 billion to 2.5 billion years ago. I really hope one hits us now. I don't got time to wait for another, 15 million years. I would just love for that to happen. I just really feel like as a species, we've failed. We haven't lived up to our God-given abilities. We have become like cattle. I'm all for it, man. I hope one of these life-ending meteorites just smashes into the Earth, because I can't stand reading this news and all this negativity we see every day. But hey, welcome to the podcast. Hope you're having a good time. Next story. Another sick individual from what it seems, but again, innocent until proven guilty. Business Insider: Diddy's children break their silence on his arrest and compare the accusations to conspiracy theories. Okay, as Sean Diddy Combs awaits trial on 3 felony charges, including trafficking, his children are standing united behind him. Quincy Brown, 33, Justin Combs, 30, Christian Combs, 26, Chance Combs, 18, and twins Delilah Starr Combs and Jesse James Combs, 17, shared a joint statement via Instagram on Tuesday, their first time directly addressing the scandal since Combs was indicted by federal prosecutors. The past month has devastated our family, the group wrote in a photo caption. Many have judged both him and us based on accusations, conspiracy theories, and false narratives that have spiraled into absurdity on social media. We stand united, supporting you every step of the way, their statement continued. We hold on to the truth, knowing it will prevail, and nothing will break the strength of our family. We miss you and love you, Dad. The photo shows all 6 children with their father, plus Combs' mother, Janice Small Combs, 7th child, a 1-year-old daughter named Love Sean Combs, and Love's mother, Dana Tran. And, it's just crazy. Like, when you look at this picture and the image we, always used to see Puffy in the public and friends with all the celebrities, and, you see this picture, it's hard to believe that he's accused of all this stuff. And how quickly this guy's entire life just turned upside down and crashed to the ground. How do you think it's going to end for Diddy? Drop a comment. I don't think it ends well. Mystery professional athlete stopped Diddy assault on young man, lawsuit claims. This is reported by The Independent. Sean Diddy Combs has been accused in a new lawsuit of assaulting a L.A. businessman during a Chirac party roughly 2 years ago. The lawsuit alleges Combs invited the unidentified plaintiff, who owns a business renting luxury cars and jewelry, to the promotional party for his vodka brand and asked him to follow him to his private office. Once inside the office, the man claims he knows Combs was intoxicated and acting strangely. Combs then began awkwardly moving closer to the businessman, removed his pants, and exposed his genitals to the man, the filing states. It's alleged the musician kept moving closer and then grabbed the plaintiff's genitals through his pants, squeezing them in a rough and sexual manner. The man became shocked and disoriented, the lawsuit states. He froze momentarily and did not know how to respond to the weirdly inappropriate sexual advance made by Combs. The situation escalated until a professional athlete entered the office and intervened, and Combs stopped his alleged advances. I mean, after seeing that episode on Drink Champs where Diddy walks in with Fabulous, all right, daddy, all right. I mean, I think he definitely was into dudes, bro. It looks like even young boys. Let's find out. Let's see what happens. So that's just a little update for you all. If you drive a Honda in North America, you may want to check with your dealership. Honda's recalling 780,000 vehicles in North America on fuel pump concern. A fuel leak in the presence of an ignition source could increase the risk of fire, the automaker told the U.S. National Highway Traffic Security Administration. The recall includes various Accord, CR-V hybrids, Honda Civic vehicles from 2023 through 2025. The recall includes 720,000 vehicles in the U.S. and about 61,000 in Canada. Dealers will inspect and replace the high-pressure fuel pump, if necessary, with an improved part. Honda said because of defective high-pressure fuel pumps, core cracks may form inside the fuel pump, which can grow during driving, leading to possible fuel leaks or fuel smell while idling or driving. Honda has had 145 warranty claims and no reports of injuries related to the issue. So check your car out if you have a Honda. Make sure you are good. Feds okay rules for the U.S. to begin electric air taxi service, okay? So basically, it's going to be legal to fly people like a car, like taxis, basically. China's acting up, holding live fire drills near Taiwan and another show of force. Taiwan defense ministers tracking exercises near Pingtang Islands along Taiwan Strait. The drills near the islands off China's southern Fujian province facing Taiwan are being tracked by Taiwan defense minister. It cannot be ruled out that it is one of the ways to expand the deterrent effect in line with the dynamics in the Taiwan Strait, the ministry said in a statement, adding that China's drills are a part of an annual exercise. Encircling Taiwan was a smokescreen for China's real goal of convincing the U.S. not to intervene, experts say. China's defense ministry said those drills were a response to the Taiwanese president's refusal to accept Beijing's demand that self-governed Taiwan acknowledge itself as a part of the People's Republic of China under the rule of the Communist Party. Taiwan's Premier Cho Jong-tai then called on China to stop its exercises. Like all democratic countries in the world, we believe that China's military exercises are a threat to regional peace and stability. Regardless of the scale of the exercise, China's military exercises should not frequently approach Taiwan to make meaningless declarations. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller also said the U.S. is seriously concerned by the People's Liberation Army joint military drills in the Taiwan Strait and around Taiwan. We call on the People's Republic of China to act with restraint and to avoid any further actions that may undermine peace and stability. And if I'm not mistaken, supposedly Xi Jinping has mobilized more. Let's take a look here. Let's see. I think there was some thing. I can't find the article. But I know that Putin and Xi discussed the Ukraine war at the BRICS summit, okay? And we're going to get into that in a second for those of you that are paying attention to what is on our horizon. EU lawmakers clear up to 35 billion euro loan for Ukraine using Russian assets. European Union lawmakers on Tuesday approved the bloc's plan to use frozen Russian central bank assets to loan up to 35 billion euros to its ally Ukraine. The European Parliament voted by 518 in favor to 56 against, with 61 abstentions, for the planned loan to Kiev in the last legislative step after the EU government agreed the plan earlier in October. The G7 plans to provide an overall loan of 50 billion to help Ukraine, serviced by profits generated by Russian assets immobilized in the West. These assets were frozen shortly after Russia launched a full-scale invasion of the Ukraine. More than two-thirds of the assets, some 210 billion euros, are stuck in the 27-nation European Union, mostly with Belgium's assets safekeeping and servicing company Euroclear. Okay, which is why Russia's doing this. Putin hosts Global South leaders at BRICS summit meant to counterbalance Western clout. China's Xi Jinping, India's Narendra Modi, and other world leaders arrived Tuesday in the Russian city of Kazan for a summit of the BRICS bloc of developing economies that the Kremlin hopes to turn into a rallying point for defying Western influence in global affairs. Okay? Kremlin Foreign Affairs advisor Yuri Ushakov called it the largest foreign policy event ever held by Russia, with 36 countries attending and more than 20 of them represented by heads of the state. The alliance that initially included Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa has expanded rapidly to embrace Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Azerbaijan, Malaysia have formally applied to become members, and a few others have expressed interest in joining. They are building a parallel network to the US dollar. This thing is going to be going live soon. They will only transact in their currencies, and they will not use the petrodollar, which is probably why, if I had to predict, our people are going to send us into World War III. It's going to be a banker's war. They're not going to allow these countries to develop anything to challenge the petrodollar. What's going on in the Middle East might just be an excuse, killing many birds with one stone. I really think we're entering uncharted territory, and I really do believe we are on the precipice of global war, openly. The fact countries like Saudi Arabia would even consider being a part of the BRICS system when it was the US dollar that made them into trillionaires, the petrodollar, and the fact that we protected them and didn't allow Iran, I mean, it's just crazy the amount of backstabbing that's going on. Now, do I blame Russia and these other countries for wanting to do this? No, if I was Russia, I would want a different currency also. The story I read before that shows how the Europeans froze 210 billion of their money. So they're like, okay, cool. You guys want to keep playing these games with us? We'll just build a system around you, parallel. Next story. A surfer dies after reportedly being impaled by a swordfish. Imagine if you're surfing and all of a sudden you just get struck by a swordfish. It's crazy. An Italian surfer died last week after being impaled by a swordfish while surfing in Indonesia. Giulia Manfrini, a 36-year-old from northern Italy, was in the water in Mantawi Islands Regency, an area that draws surfers from around the world. Unexpectedly, a swordfish jumped towards Manfrini and struck her squarely in the chest, like literally right in the chest. After seeing Manfrini signal for help, two witnesses provided first aid and took her to a local medical center. Manfrini is a prominent surfer with more than 27,000 followers on social media. She was the victim of a freak accident. Unfortunately, even with the brave efforts of her partner, local resort staff, and doctors, Giulia couldn't be saved. Our condolences go to her fans, and her family. Speaking of fans, a lot of you kids out there are sitting there crying, for the singer from One Direction who died. There is another version of cocaine known as juice. It is a pink version of cocaine. A recreational drug is getting attention and causing confusion since it doesn't typically contain cocaine. The pink powder, really a grab bag of different drugs dyed pink, has turned up in the drug seizures, prompting warnings for law enforcement. Pink cocaine is also known as Tusi, but both nicknames for the powder are more about marketing the reality. Experts say it rarely contains cocaine, is more likely to contain ketamine, a drug with very different effects. Pink cocaine is pink thanks to food coloring or dye. Sometimes it has cocaine in the mix, but it's typically more of a ketamine concoction. Studies have found batches containing methamphetamine, MDMA, bath salts, caffeine, and opioids. It's a concoction that one can make if they have a couple of drugs and a pink dye. The word Tusi may have been coined to mimic 2CB, a recreational drug used on the rave scene in the 1990s and known for euphoric effects. Okay, so why is it dangerous? Now, this was shocking news today to a lot of people in America. The former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch, Mike Jeffries, is arrested in a federal trafficking case like Diddy. Okay, for more than 20 years is under arrest. Mike Jeffries is under arrest as part of a federal investigation into trafficking and interstate prostitution. His arrest comes 1 year after bombshell allegations emerged in which 8 men accused Jeffries and his inner circle of exploiting them at lavish parties around the world. The 3 men were arrested on Tuesday after a grand jury in New York returned an indictment charging them with 1 count of trafficking and 15 counts of interstate prostitution, according to court documents. As we approach this election, the legend of New York City, Rudy Giuliani, the guy that literally saved New York. I remember New York before him, during him. He saved New York. This guy went against the mafia, went against gangs, went against everything, man. He cleaned up New York. Saddening story in some ways. You know, leaving the politics out of it. Whether you like Trump or Harris, I don't give a shit. The guy saved New York. He was the best mayor we ever had. Rudy Giuliani must give control of luxury items in Manhattan apartment to Georgia election workers he defamed. A federal judge on Tuesday ordered former Donald Trump attorney and New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani to turn over all his valuable possessions and his Manhattan penthouse apartment to the control of Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss, the Georgia election workers he defamed and to whom now he owns $150 million. Judge Louis Lehman of federal court in Manhattan said Giuliani must turn over his interest in the property to the women in 7 days to a receivership they control. The judge turnover order of the luxury items is swift and simple, but the penthouse apartment will have its control transferred so Freeman and Moss can sell it, potentially for millions of dollars. The women who counted Georgia ballots over the 2020 election will also be entitled to about $2 million in legal fees. Giuliani has said that the Trump campaign still owes him, the judge ruled. In addition to Trump campaign fees in New York apartment, Giuliani must also turn over a collection of several watches, including ones given to him by European presidents after the September 11th attacks, a signed Joe DiMaggio jersey and other sports memorabilia, a 1980 Mercedes once owned by the Hollywood star Lauren Bacall. Additionally, the judge ordered that Giuliani turn over his television, items of furniture, and jewelry. They have broken the man who saved New York. The defamation case against Giuliani and the latest steps to enforce the judgment are an example of how the lawyers who assisted in Trump's election subversion schemes have faced consequences for those actions. Many people on the right believe that this is why Giuliani was targeted and destroyed, because he supported Trump. The IDF confirms death of a top Hezbollah leader. Blinken meets with Netanyahu. They took out the top guy that was supposed to take over, Hassan Nasrallah's spot. He's been taken out. Hashem Safieddine, the senior Hezbollah leader, widely seen as the successor. The IDF said it could confirm the news following weeks of speculation. Earlier Tuesday, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken met with Israel Prime Minister Bibi in Jerusalem, the Prime Minister's office said, as a part of Blinken's last tour of the Middle East to try and de-escalate tensions. Israeli troops separate men from women, children, march displaced Palestinians at gunpoint. Israel forces have barred rescue teams from reaching Palestinians trapped under the rubble of collapsed buildings. On Monday, Israeli drones equipped with loudspeakers hovered over shelters for displaced Palestinians in Beit Alea, blaring messages ordering them to flee through military checkpoints. Witnesses say Israeli soldiers entered the shelters, separated men from their families at gunpoint, and instructed women and children to move southward. The mass expulsion came amid continued unrelenting Israeli attacks, including a strike on Beit Lahia that killed 15 Palestinians, including children. Gaza Health Ministry reports at least 115 Palestinians have been killed over the past 48 hours. 500 more were wounded, bringing the total number of people wounded in Israel's year-long war to more than 100,000, with nearly 43,000 killed. This is reported by Democracy Now! 7 Jewish Israelis are arrested for spying for Iran on security figures, IDF bases. residents of the north who immigrated from Azerbaijan, accused of carrying out some 600 missions over 2 years for their Iranian handlers, causing damage to the country. Crazy times, man. 1 dead and 10 hospitalized in U.S. after E. coli outbreak linked to McDonald's Quarter Pounder. The CDC said that the number of illnesses is likely much higher, and recent illnesses may not have been reported. Burgers in affected areas may be temporarily unavailable. 1 person has died and 10 have been hospitalized after an outbreak of E. coli linked to McDonald's Quarter Pound burgers. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention infections were reported between the 27th of September and the 11th of October. Nothing is safe out there. You could go to get a Big Mac, next thing you know, you're getting dead. You shouldn't be eating that shit anyway. Speaking of dwindling things, Ukraine's population has shrunk by 10 million people since Russia first invaded, according to the UN estimate. Okay, Ukraine's population has declined. Overall, Ukraine's population has declined by an estimated 10 million since 2014 and by an estimated 8 million since the beginning of the full-scale invasion in 2022. Ukraine's population stood at around 45 million in 2014 when Russia first invaded, occupying and annexing Crimea, their agency said, citing data from the National Statistics Office. But in 2.5 years since the full-scale invasion, some 6.7 million people have fled the country as refugees, while the birth rate has fallen to just around 1 child per woman. Catastrophic results. Researchers say Arkansas might have 19 million tons of lithium critical for battery power. The study estimated that there are between 5 million and 19 million tons of lithium reserves present in the formation, while the estimate was of the amount of lithium in the place and didn't assess how much of that is technically recoverable. If the reserves can be recovered commercially, the low-end estimate of 5 million tons would be enough to meet the world's projected 2030 demand for lithium batteries and electric vehicles 9 times over. Bird flu cases in people are quietly ticking up, with dozens reported across 6 states. Okay, here it is popping its head back up. Washington, California has 13 cases. Colorado has 10. Here we go. Texas has 1. Missouri has 1. Michigan has 2. It's beginning, my friends. Right on time, ain't it? Yeah, you're right, I am. Okay? No, I'm not. Let's just cancel that one out. Germany identifies its first case of new Mpox variant. Okay, that's still out in the background. Germany has detected its first case of the new Mpox variant. The patient's 33-year-old man who has isolated after being admitted to a hospital for treatment on October 12th. The case was detected in Cologne, the ministry said in a statement. The current outbreak originated in the Democratic Republic of Congo and has spread to neighboring countries. The patient in Germany is thought to have picked up the virus in East African country. Okay, let's keep our eyes on that. Last story. I've caught thousands of unfaithful men. Here are 8 signs your guy is cheating on you. What are the 8 signs? He hides his phone. I agree. You're not his pics. I agree. He uses Snapchat. I agree. Won't show you his location. I agree. Unequal expectations. He accuses you of cheating. I don't agree with that one. Intuition is key, emotional distancing. In any event, we live in a crazy world. I'm still out here in Dallas delivering you the most interesting headlines from around the world. This is your boy, Bek Lover. Add me to your news rotation. Check out all my other content, and there's a lot of content coming out soon. I want to thank you for supporting, and I'll see you soon on Interesting Times with Bek Lover.